This is Dr. Evazan. This figure released in 2020, exclusive to the Master Builder series Masaze Cantina. Overall, this is a very nice figure, with a pretty nice print on his torso for his shirt, and even a bit of his chest is showing. But sadly, the light nougat printing is a bit washed out because it is printed on a darker torso. But he does have a great face print, even with his one eye, and some stubble and scars. But sadly, the figure does not have any leg printing, but he does have this very nice hairpiece. And he also has this great second face for when Obi-Wan Kenobi cuts off Padme Amidala's arm. This figure is currently worth about $13 new and $10 used. This is the V-Wing palette. This figure released in 2014, exclusive to the V-Wing Starfighter. Overall, this is a very nice figure, even with a great torso print, which has some oxygen tubes going up to his helmet. And he does have this great helmet piece, and it does have some excellent printing, even with some Republic Navy logos. And his face print is okay, it just has his visor and a little mouth. But I do wish that the figure had some sort of leg printing. And he does have a decent back print. This figure is currently worth about $22 new and $12 used. This is Cal Kestis. This figure released in 2024 as a 25th anniversary figure exclusive to the Imperial Star Destroyer. Overall, this is a very nice figure, with very detailed printing on his torso, which does look very nice, and also great leg printing. And his legs are actually done in the gunmetal gray, which did surprise me. And he also has this great face print with a couple of scars, and this very nice hairpiece, which is done in orange, which is new. And he also has a very nice second face. But I do wish that this figure included his poncho, and also BD1. And because the figure did just release, I couldn't find many being sold, but the ones that I did find is going for about $70 in new condition. This is Commander Fox. This figure released in 2023, exclusive to the Coruscant Guard gunship. Overall, this figure definitely could have been executed better. First off, the printing on his torso is wildly inaccurate, because that whole bottom part of his chest plate is supposed to be red. It's supposed to look something like this. And because it is printed on a red torso, the chest plate looks more pink. Plus, the stripe on top of his helmet is very thin, and his visor should have been black. And obviously, he has a printed waist cape. But I do personally wish that his legs were dual molded, especially because Lego has made this exact piece. And underneath his helmet, he just has the regular clone head. This figure is currently worth about $36 new and $30 used. This is Zorii Bliss. This figure released in two sets from 2019 through 2020, that being the Resistance Y-Wing and the Resistance Y-Wing Microfighter. Overall, this is a pretty good figure. She does have very nice printing on her torso and legs, and the print on her torso does extend down to her legs, which does look nice. And she also includes this very nice dual molded helmet, which does have her black visor and a little mouthpiece. But underneath the helmet, it is just a plain black head. And she does actually include two of the flintlock pieces in gunmetal gray. This figure is currently worth about $7 new and $5 used. This is the Grand Inquisitor. This figure released in 2022, exclusive to the Inquisitor Transport Scythe. Overall, this is a very nice figure, with a great printing on his legs, torso, and even this very nice armor piece. But the shoulder pads aren't entirely flush with his arms, and it is a new mold compared to the last Grand Inquisitor. But on the back, there is still the clip for his lightsaber, and he does have this very nice cape. And there is even a bit of printing on the back of his head. And he does have this very nice face print, but I think I prefer the face on the last Grand Inquisitor. And if you're curious, the helmet from the last figure does fit, but it isn't nearly as flush, and he also isn't as menacing. This figure is currently worth about $30 new and $24 used. This is the FA4 pilot droid. This figure released in two sets in 2013, that being the Dual on Geonosis and the 2013 Advent Calendar. Overall, this is a very nice figure. The entire bottom half of his body is brick built, and sadly, with these cheese slopes, cracks can form very easily, and his body is just the normal battle droid part in different colors, but actually, his head is just a reprint of the commando droid. This figure is currently worth about $5 new and $2 used. This is the 187th Commander. This figure released in 2022, exclusive to the Republic fighter tank. Overall, this is a very nice figure. He does have great printing on his torso and legs, but sadly, he does have a printed waist cape, which especially looks bad on this figure. But he does have this great helmet mold. But I am confused on why LEGO called this figure a commander, because it is clearly just an airborne trooper. but we don't get airborne troopers too often, so I'm so happy that we got this figure. And his torso does have a bit of extra armor, and he does just have the standard clone head. This figure is currently worth about $13 new and $12 used. This is Luke Skywalker. This figure released in 2013, exclusive to the Rancor pit. Overall, this is a very nice figure with a great print on his torso, which is pretty simple, and this very nice face print. But sadly, the figure does not have any leg printing, but he does have this very nice hairpiece. But the same figure, just with a slightly different face print, appeared in the Desert Skiff just a year prior, and his face also is not exclusive. It also appeared on this with Luke Skywalker. But he does have a pretty simple print on his back, and he also does have this decent second face. This figure is currently worth about $24 new and $9 used. Gerrara. He released in 2024 as a 25th anniversary figure, exclusive to the Darth Maul Sith Infiltrator. Overall, I feel like LEGO did a very good job on this figure. He has extremely detailed printing on his torso, legs, and even some printing on his armor piece. And while I feel like his whole body isn't the most accurate color, this dark green is the best color that they had. And the figure does have this very nice cape, which does have a great print on it, but my only issue with it is because of his armor piece, it does bow out way too much. And I kind of wish that his one metal leg was more unique. Could have just reused the leg from Echo. And the character does have this very nice face print, which I think captured the actor pretty well. And he does have a pretty nice second face. And the printing on his torso is the same on the armor, which I think looks pretty nice. And this is his back print. This figure is currently worth about $35 new and $30 used. LEGO 332nd Trooper. He released in 2020, exclusive to the AAT. Overall, this is a very nice figure. He does use the same torso and legs as the regular 501st Trooper, but that does make sense. And the figure does have excellent printing on the top of his helmet, which I think looks great. And, as you might expect, he does just have the regular clone head. And while LEGO did make a new version of this figure, I just don't think it looks as good. And other people seem to agree with that, because this figure is currently worth about $21 new and $15 used. The old Lando Calrissian. He released in 2019, exclusive to the Millennium Falcon. Overall, LEGO did a very good job on this figure. He does have this very nice yellow shirt, which does have some pretty simple printing on it, with a black outline around his v-neck, a strap, and a belt. But I do wish that the figure had some leg printing. But he does include this very nice double-sided cape, which isn't too common, and he even has a double-sided collar, which is even less common. And he does have this great face print, even with some gray hairs in his mustache and eyebrows. And he does have this pretty nice hairpiece, and a decent second face. And if you're curious, this is his back print. This figure is currently worth about $24 new and $18 used. LEGO Marrok. He released in 2023, exclusive to Ahsoka's T6 Jedi Shuttle. Overall, I think that LEGO did a pretty good job on this figure. He is done almost entirely in gunmetal gray, which looks great. And he has extremely detailed printing on his armor, and there's even some rust, which I think adds some very nice detail. And there is some very nice printing on his armor piece, but I'm not the biggest fan of it, just because the shoulder pads don't fully connect to his arms. And it is the same mold as the most recent Grand Inquisitor. And on the back, he does have this Nissan back print, and there is a clip for his lightsaber. And LEGO did a great job on his helmet, which I think looks excellent. But underneath his helmet, it is just a plain black head, which I do kind of wish was in dark green. This figure is currently worth about $13 both new and used. About the LEGO Paz Vizsla. He released in two sets from 2021 to 2024, that being the Armor's Mandalorian Forge and the Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon battle. And there is actually two versions of this figure, but the only difference is that the one that came in the Forge has a very minor change to his backpack. And that figure is somehow still worth $30, but I think that's just because the price hasn't updated since the new figure came out. And LEGO did do a very good job on this figure. He does have amazing printing on his torso, legs, and even this very nice armor piece, which also has some printing, and even the Mandalorian insignia on it. And it also has this great helmet, with a bit of battle damage. And underneath it, it is just a plain black head. And he does have great printing underneath his armor, and even a very nice back print. This figure is currently worth about $9, both new and used. The LEGO Captain Vaughn. He released in 2023, exclusive to the 332nd Battle Pack. Overall, LEGO did not do a very good job on this figure. First up, his visor is just the wrong color. It should be dark red. And LEGO has made this exact visor piece in dark red before. Also, his whole abdomen area is supposed to be gray, which LEGO did include on the Commander Cody. But he does have a decent back print for his jetpack, which I do kind of wish was a physical piece, but I guess this works. And, unsurprisingly, he just has the regular clone head. This figure is currently worth about $4, both new and used. Pilot Luke Skywalker. He released in 2023, exclusive to the UCS X-Wing. And a lot of people have realized that you can just take the arms and legs from the keychain and put it onto a normal Pilot Luke Skywalker, because those are the only exclusive parts. But the actual figure is great. The arm printing definitely adds a lot to the figure, and they look great. Also, the dual molded legs look excellent. I really like how they look like he's actually wearing boots. And the print on his torso also is great. I really like how the print extends down to his waist. But his helmet and face print is nothing special. The print on his helmet does look nice, and he does also have a pretty good face print with the visor on his face, and this is his second face. This figure is currently worth about $27 new and $25 used. LEGO Nien Nunb. He released in 2024 as a 25th anniversary figure, exclusive to the Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit. And this character was definitely long overdue. And LEGO did do a pretty good job on this figure. I really like his brand new molded head. I think it looks great and resembles the character a lot. And there is even some printing for his whole head cap. But the pretty quality around his ears isn't the best. And his eyes also do look very nice. But I feel like his skin tone probably wasn't the most accurate color. But his jacket does look very nice. It does actually remind me a lot of Rebel Friend, so you could use it to make a custom figure. The printing on his legs were also done pretty well. There are some pockets and a belt, and his belt is actually very similar to this Han Solo. This figure is currently worth about $25 new and $23 used. First Order Officer. He released in 2015, exclusive to the First Order TIE Fighter. And I do really like this figure. The print on his torso is relatively simplistic, but I do like it. Especially those little pen things and also his belts. But the figure definitely would have benefited from some dual molded legs. Also, he does have this very nice hat, which I think looks great. And there is even a First Order logo on it. And his face print also is very nice. It is a bit more inquisitive, but I find it funny that his eyebrows are just going to be covered up by his hat. And this is his back print, and obviously there isn't going to be a second face. This figure is currently worth about $10 new and $5 used. Darth Maul. He released in 2024, exclusive to Darth Maul Sith Infiltrator. Yeah, this is not a very good figure. And that's mainly because of his face print. The no peoples thing just doesn't work on Darth Maul. And LEGO has been doing this on a lot of figures recently, but it just looks especially bad on this figure. And I also feel like he would have highly benefited a cape. But the printing on his torso and legs is actually extremely detailed, and they do look great, which I do appreciate. And the character does even have feet printing, which isn't very common. And he, of course, includes this very nice horn piece, which looks great, and also a decent back print. This figure is currently worth about $10 new and $8 used. This Han Solo. He released in 2017, exclusive to the UCS Millennium Falcon. Overall, I do really like this figure. He does have a great print for his torso, which is him in his blue jacket. This torso is not exclusive, but that's fine. But his shirt and skin is pretty washed out. And he also has some very nice leg printing. It also is not exclusive, but that's also fine. And the printing is relatively simple, but it gets the job done. But I feel like for this figure, he probably should have included the same dual molded legs on this Han Solo. But to be fair, that one did release a year after this figure. And he also uses the basic Han Solo hairpiece, but he does actually have a exclusive face, which does look very nice. And he has a great second face with his little respirator. And this is the back print. This figure is currently worth about $25 new and $18 used. This Grand Admiral Thrawn. He released in 2024, exclusive to the Battle on Peridea. Overall, this figure was definitely long overdue, considering the last Grand Admiral Thrawn came out about 8 years ago, and this figure is definitely a massive upgrade. First up, his source of printing is way more accurate because the last Grand Admiral Thrawn actually had the incorrect rank. But this figure actually should have 4 of those little pen things, but it's a very minor inaccuracy. And the figure does have great dual molded legs, which looks amazing. He also has the slick back hairpiece in black, which is accurate to the Ahsoka show. And the figure does of course have his blue skin, and it is actually a different shade of blue than the last Grand Admiral Thrawn. And he also has a very nice face print to show that he is supposed to be a bit older. And this is his second face. This figure is currently worth about $20 both new and used. This Padawan Ahsoka. She released in 6 sets and 1 magnet pack from 2008 through 2010. And overall, this is a pretty good figure. She does have this very nice Lego piece, which looks pretty good. But her face print definitely is a bit uncanny. And she does also have a pretty nice torso print, which looks pretty good. But she doesn't have a back print, which isn't that big of a surprise. And sadly, the figure doesn't have any leg printing, but I'm not too surprised about that because leg printing wasn't too common in around 2008. And she does not have a second face. This figure is currently worth about $25 new and $15 used. This Padme Amidala. She released in 2023, exclusive to the Coruscant Guard gunship. Overall, I like this figure. I just feel like she could have been done a bit better. First off, I do like a print on the torso. She is wearing her classic red vest, which she wore in the earlier seasons of the Clone Wars. I just wish that it was a different outfit, considering that we have gone this exact outfit before. And the major complaint with this figure is her face print. She reuses the same Jyn Erso face, which doesn't look bad. It's just LEGO has been doing this on a lot of figures recently, and this face just doesn't really look that much like Padme. And she does have this pretty nice hairpiece, and this is her second face. I also wish that the figure came with some leg printing. This figure is currently worth about $18 new and $15 used. This Moff Gideon. He released in 2024, exclusive to the Moff Gideon and Paz Vizsla battle. Overall, this is a very nice figure. He has extremely detailed printing on his torso and legs, which look very nice. And he also has this great brand new helmet mold. And I am very happy that LEGO didn't just reuse the same mold as the armorer. And the helmet does have some very nice printing on it. He also has a pretty nice jetpack, even with a little printed tile. But I feel like he should have also included his double-sided cape as an option to have instead of his jetpack. And he does have a very nice back print, even though it is covered up by the jetpack. And the character has a very nice face print, which is far more accurate than the last Moff Gideon. And he also includes a hairpiece. And this is his second face. This figure is currently worth about $12 new and $10 used.